Hello everyone, welcome to today's presentation. My name is Ozan Altindis. I'm Product Marketing Manager for Northern Europe. And today I would like to show you something really interesting. If you wonder what are the unique selling points or what kind of difference Praesensa made when we introduced it for the PA market for the very first time, this is your webinar. So welcome once more. So let's go and dive in. First of all, I just shortly want to mention about the system components. As basically in all PA systems, we start with a controller who is the traffic hub of the system and has the full control of Praesensa devices and the audio communication in between those devices. Then we have two types of different amplifiers. One is 8 channel, the other is 4, but both are 600 watts of power. And then a multifunctional power supply unit supports them. It can support up to 3 amplifiers. It is indeed, as you can understand from the name, a power supply, but there is a reason why we call it multifunctional. Because you can also connect the SAP port, or you can also manage many different functions from that device. We have two types of different call stations in this portfolio. One is desktop version and the other is wall mount version, that you can get some more special videos about that later on in this playlist. Here is the basic principle of Praesensa. So all systems are, of course, all devices are connected to each other, and as you can imagine, as it's an EN54 system, everything that we connect is redundant and fully IP, as Praesensa is a fully IP system. But on the other hand, of course, when it comes to DC power connections, or the power connections, they are also redundant. Praesensa right now has the highest system availability in the market, so everything can actually be done in a redundant way if you like them to be. And for sure, you can use batteries as it's a part of EN54.4. Either in the peaceful times, you can use or feed your system with the main supply. This slide shows how you can use Praesensa. You can either do a centralized system design or a decentralized system design. Now, if you are careful enough, you can see that in the decentralized system, we are using only one controller, and the others are just 3 amplifiers and a multifunctional power supply, which means you don't really need, like in a traditional PA system, to add a controller in each and every subsystem to make them communicating with the others, because now all devices, as said, are IP, so they can manage their own communication. By saying that, let me go through the value proposition. So now we have 5 main topics that I need to explain to you to emphasize myself in a better way and to explain you how different Praesensa is. And first one, and maybe the most important one, is being IP. We always say this is a fully featured and fully IP system we're talking about here. It's not just some parts of the system are IP and some aren't. No, all the system components, all the basic system components that you see in here is an IP device. But not only being IP is important, it's also important that we have a secure connection. So we are working with a safety and security system since very long time, as you know, as Bosch, and we really do care about the encryption, data and audio encryption. For that, we are using the latest technology in the audio encryption, which is AES 128 method, and also transport layer security when it comes to data. So with those technologies, we are basically encrypting the audio is being transmitted in between the audio channels, and also the data that you are sending from your laptop or any other remote devices into Praesensa to trigger something. The second point, after being secure IP, is effective power utilization. So for that, I want to give you an example. If you can see my slide right now, let's say in a hotel project you need a 25 watt loudspeaker zone and a 300 zone. So all the traditional PA systems, including our previous PA system, Presidio, as you may know, can offer you the smallest amplifier channel is 60 watts, and the closest to 300 watt is 500 watt. So then the question is, what will happen to the power in between those And the answer is very clear. They will be just amplifier spills, because that 35 watt in the first loudspeaker zone, you can see, you can't use it for any other zone, and you can't make any redundancy with that power, so it's just wasted. And as you can see, in the big areas, the waste, the spill is even bigger. But in Praesensa, it's really different. So if you need 25 watt, you got 25 watt. If you need 300, you get 300 watts. And then, of course, we are getting closer and closer to the zero spill. The only way that you spill is that you're not using 600 watt of amplifier. Yeah, then you may have some spill, but this method actually makes it much less than the other traditional PA system. So this is how smart Praesensa can use its amplifier's power. And that means we are using less hardware, the components here, so we need less batteries to feed them, we need a smaller rack to put them in, we need less air conditioning to keep them cool, and at the end of the day, we have cost savings from all these facts. The third point is the highest system availability. So yes, we are working in an EM54 environment, and EM54 says something about redundancy, very important information, and everybody in this market, including us, of course, obey that rules. But what we mean with that, we are doing even further. I'll show you some examples. So we, of course, have power supply redundancy, so you can have dual feed to your system, to your amplifier, for example, in this case. You can basically use any kind of loudspeaker wiring or redundancy method that is known in the market today. We, of course, have a redundancy network link, so if the network collapses, we always have a plan B, or that input was somehow being damaged. Yeah, these are not really surprising, but as said, now the ones we add on top is coming. So we have built-in spare amplifier channel in each and every Praesensa amplifier, meaning that actually you are buying the unit, this unit, for example, with 8 channel watts from Bosch, but actually that amplifier has 9 channels in it, and 9th channel is always the spare for the first 8 channel, or 5th channel is always the spare for the 4 main channels if you're buying a 4-channel amplifier. So that basically saves a lot of cost, because then you don't need an additional physical amplifier. Another interesting or revolutionary even feature is the lifeline. So yes, we have all the redundancies, all the plans there, but still everything can collapse. So we still put a small analog connection between your multifunctional power supply unit and the amplifier to at least say people run away with a live call in case everything collapses. So it is redundancy of redundancy. And last but not least, of course, you can define duty and standby controllers, so you always do not have a single point of failure. Even if the controller collapses with all the information, it will automatically switch to the new one. The other point, which is really interesting, we will make another movie for that, so you can watch it also in our YouTube channel, is the optimized user experience, which basically comes and touches to the end user with the call station mostly. So now we are trying to do a call station interesting enough and closer enough to end users' needs, to their daily use. So now we have tiles, very easy and clean look, and also a feedback function that the call station tells if the call was successful or not to the operator. So you have all the information in your hands via the call station. The other function, or the other main point actually when we're talking about Praesensa, is being fully featured as standard. So what does it really mean? It is not only one thing, it's a lot of different technologies that we're using in Praesensa will prepare Praesensa to the future. So if a communication method changes or a new encryption method comes, the platform we have created will actually be ready for that. So just some examples, what kind of things I'm talking about. First of all, we have Omnio. If you wonder what Omnio is, we will also have a different video about that, so you can go and check that. But it's basically data and audio combination in an encrypted way. Yes, we are speaking Dante language, so any other system speaking Dante language can easily communicate with Praesensa. So that's the feeling that we give outside. We are always open for any integration. We have a Audio Engineering Society 70 standard, which means control is made much easier. And dynamic audio routing, for example, pretty important, which basically means that we are creating different audio channels to you, and from those audio channels you can send different calls from the same channel. It's like driving different cars in a lane of a autobahn, for example, very simply speaking. So there is a lot of big and small things in Praesensa like this, which makes it ready for the future. Another example I want to talk about is the built-in switches. So all these devices the ones needed, has their own switches inside, which means you don't need to go outside and try to find a new switch, which is EN54 certified and tested, and then go to consultants or auditors to make them accept your device. No, it is inside the device, it is tested, it is certified with the same hardware, so it's very easy. So let me do a summary. Praesensa is a fully IP, fully featured, and fully secure when it comes to encryption. Praesensa is using its amplifiers in a very smart way that you need much less amplifier than a traditional PA system. Praesensa has the highest system availability, redundancy methods when it comes to this part. Right now, the best in the market in that sense. We collect a lot of different feedbacks from the people using these kind of systems every single day in their lives, and those feedbacks came together, and that's how we created our user experience site. So very end user friendly, even if you're not a technical person. And last but not least, we are fully ready with the technologies we are using to the future. Praesensa has already proven its success with a lot of different reference cases and important ones all over the globe. So if you want to get more information, technical or commercial, please go and check Bosch Academy, which is our training portal, from the link below. If you still have some questions, please do not hesitate to contact us or your local representative. Thanks very much, and see you in the next webinar.